All right, let's talk NHL. Let's talk Sabres, the trade deadline. Duff, let's start with you. Let's talk about what the Sabres did and what they didn't do.
I think they did exactly what they were supposed to do. I'm very happy with the trade deadline. You ship out a prospect in Brandon Guhle, who is not, he's still a question mark. You get a guy in Montour from Anaheim, who you know can play in the NHL. He fits the system more than what Guhle potentially did. And Guhle was jumped over by a couple of defensemen, right? Like, he wasn't going to be a lock to make the Sabres roster next season. I'm fine with that. You give up a first-round pick, which is rough, but that pick probably is going to be between 15 and 30 somewhere, because it's either San Jose or St. Louis's pick. So you essentially get Montour for a question mark prospect and what your first-round pick would have been. I'm cool. I'm glad they didn't decide to do anything else. There were rumors that Ristolainen was going to end up moving, and I think that would have been insane. Listen, we have talked about it last week, an historical offseason where you have a lot of young players that are due to make a lot of money that other teams that are playing well can't afford. That's where you make up your ground there, and maybe we see another pick dealt at the deadline. Or at the draft, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it could happen. I'm with Pat on this because I think they weren't, you look in terms of buyers or sellers. They sort of did a little bit of both, but in this case, look, with Guhle, I think everybody was sort of excited of him as a prospect, but Chris Taylor said it during the beginning of the year before the season starts about prospects in Rochester. Basically said you're either moving up or you're moving out, and he really wasn't moving up. Now, that doesn't mean the guy can't play, and it won't find his way in Anaheim, but Montour's a guy who's done it. He'll be getting paid pretty soon, too. Maybe they didn't want to pay him. I like the move. I think it's an aggressive move. We all know what they need, right? They've got a first line. They've got defense. They've got now some better puck handlers. They need that second line. They need dependable scoring there, and they need to figure out what they want to do at the goaltender position. So it's not all bad. It's just been incredibly frustrating to watch.
And I think what's more frustrating was that 10-game winning streak gave us all false hope. Everyone looks at that and thinks, oh, they're a playoff team. Jason Botterill's building something, and it's going to take time. And this trade deadline, while a lot of people wanted risk the line and move, go buy somebody big, that's not what he's going to do. That's not how he's going to build this thing. If you take that 10-game winning streak mentality away, this has been a better year. They're ahead of last year. They're building towards something. So I do think he did a good job at the deadline.
There's one thing that scares me with that Montour deal coming from Anaheim. It's a defenseman tailor-made for the system that Housley wants to run, which tells me that Housley is going to get another full season next year. And not only that, they're going to go out and get the players that Housley needs to run his, quote, system. Fine, but if you have your guys and the system doesn't work out again next year, well, now you have to go find a coach along the same lines, mental-wise, as Housley does, or else you have all these prospects which you can't use. That's why Montour had fallen down the depth chart so far in Anaheim. They didn't know how to use them the right way. So we're kind of finding ourselves in another Bill cycle where you go out and get the players for the general manager and the coach coach gets blown out, and now we have these 5 or 6 high-priced free agents that we signed that we can't use.
But it also may tell you that Jason Botterill likes that system. He did hire Phil Housley. He wants those puck-carrying defensemen that come up into the zone and to make plays. So in that way, and the Ristolainen deal, you're talking to Tampa. Tampa is so good and so loaded right now from such a position of strength. I don't think you really want to be trading with them. They're not desperate. No. If they want a Ristolainen, they're not going to give you the farm to get a guy. Maybe in the offseason, if they don't win the cup, they may be looking to make deals, and maybe you can revisit that, but I'm glad they didn't make that deal.